Good afternoon, Sasha. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Austin. Thank you for having me.
So good to see you, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. And welcome to WIN TV. Sasha, before we jump into our question, can you tell us about the work that you're doing at Mana Inc., and in particular to help homeowners and renters stay in their homes?
Sure. Again, thank you for having me join WIN TV, Austin. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak about MANA and our work. MANA's mission is really to help low and moderate income persons, acquire quality housing. We really want to help people build assets through homeownership, and we revitalize distressed neighborhoods and preserve racial and ethnic diversity. We're a nonprofit developer of affordable rental and ownership housing, a condominium and homeowner association manager, and a HUD approved housing counseling agency that provides home buyer education, pre purchase and post purchase counseling, as well as assisting tenants and landlords in accessing state DC funding to avoid eviction. So we do a number of things here at MANA.
Okay. And Sasha, when were you first formed?
MANA was started in 1982, so we are reaching our 40-year anniversary. We've been around for a very long time in Washington D.C. We've traditionally worked in the D.C. area, but under my leadership, we are expanding into adjacent counties within the Washington, Maryland, Virginia area. We're currently working in Prince George's County at this time.
Okay. Thank you, and happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Sasha, can you tell us about the Neighborhood Work Stop Home Scams campaign and your organization's involvement in this timely effort?
Sure. Well, first of all, NeighborWorks is a national organization that's focused on affordable housing and community development. They've been around for a long time as well, over 40 years, in fact. MANA has been a longtime member of NeighborWorks. We are their local DC partner. And I think it's since 2009, NeighborWorks has been involved with national organizations. They've been working with federal agencies and other local nonprofits like MANA, educating consumers in financial distress on the patterns and different forms of housing-related scams. In January of 2021, they launched an official campaign to stop housing scams. Now, Austin, we know that the pandemic has impacted a lot of people nationally and really across the world. But not only has the pandemic caused a health crisis, it's really forced many families to deal with housing insecurity. With mortgage and rental payment delinquency rates rising, households are facing eviction and they're vulnerable to housing scams. And these scammers have really upped their game. They're really taking advantage of distressed consumers. They're using unethical practices, sometimes unlawful tactics, and they're really causing renters and homeowners to lose money, sometimes losing their homes. So the goal of NeighborWorks campaign is to arm people with information and to educate them so they do not fall prey to these housing scams. We're really collectively trying to solve the housing crisis, not contribute to it. And NeighborWorks is also trying to engage partners like MANA and other partners, increase the efficacy of the campaign.
Let me ask you this. What advice would you give to people who are facing foreclosures or eviction during these challenging times?
Yeah, I would strongly advise people that they contact a HUD housing counselor. You can find out who your counselor is or which counselors are serving your area by state. You can go to NeighborWorks www.stophomescams.org website to find a local HUD counselor. And your local HUD counselor can help you if you're facing foreclosure crisis, or if you are, facing potential eviction. I will say specific to my DC residents, because MANA is physically located in Washington, DC. If any DC resident is potentially facing eviction, maybe you have, had financial difficulty, please contact MANA at our Stay DC hotline. That number is 202-534-1057. And we will help you to, complete the application for financial assistance that may help you to access funding to stay in your home.
Thank you. And just a few more questions, Sasha. Why should homeowners and renters work with a housing counseling agency? And how can such an agency help someone at risk for losing their home?
Well, I would say that, most HUD counselors are not fee driven, right? They are really professionals who are on the side of tenants or owners. They're typically very familiar with programs and financial assistance that can be accessed easily to help remedy the situation. And frankly, it is best to have a professional assistant as your advocate. It is helpful to not go at it alone when there are resources available. Having an advocate at your side helping you navigate the potential of foreclosure or eviction is a huge benefit.
Okay. Is there a cost for such support?
Typically, there are no costs. At MANA, there is no cost to work with MANA on Stay DC funding. You can call us and make an appointment at our 614 S Street, Washington, DC office. You can walk in, or we can work with landlords and property owners to come to you. With respect to foreclosure prevention, there's still no cost. We may charge a small fee to pull a credit report if we need to pull a credit report. And the cost for that credit report is really on a sliding scale, still very nominal. For example, if you earn between $20,000 to $35,000, the cost to pull a credit report is $10. If your income is at or below $20,000, the cost is $0 to pull a credit report. But really, there is typically no cost to work with a housing counselor, HUD housing counselor.
Just two more questions, Sasha. What is the number one red flag to let someone know that they're speaking to a scammer?
Yeah. A lot of these scammers contact, folks who over the phone. And one of the biggest red flag is when they ask for personal information, like a social security number or banking information. Many of these scammers want to get into your financial information, and you never want to give that out over the phone. You also want to avoid people who ask for upfront fees or tell you that they can guarantee that you won't be able to, go through foreclosure, or that the, bank will not foreclose on your home. Scammers no one can really guarantee, that you will not be able to go through foreclosure.
Okay, thank you. And final question: is the help your agency offered only for English-speaking residents?
No, we can offer services to Spanish-speaking residents, and we also can print information in different languages, like Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. But at MANA, we can work with people directly who are Spanish-speaking, and we can provide printed information in different languages.
Great. Thank you. Sasha, I really appreciate your time today. I'm going to turn it back over to Denise. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Austin.
I guess it would help if you could hear me, right? I want to thank both of you all, Austin and Sasha, for being with us. And it's such great information, Sasha, because it really is what we're trying to provide in helping to save, as we say, keep homes Black owned. And not that we don't want to keep homes owned. I think home ownership, is the American dream for many, not all, but for many. And so many are being caught up, but particularly people, Black and brown folks, are getting caught up in these scams. And so we're glad that you're focusing the attention on that, and look forward to having you sort of partnering with us as we go down this road of providing information to our readers and to our viewers. We know that in a couple of months, we're going to be, actually in November, we'll be producing our financial literacy issue. And in that, we would want to have you back again to talk about ways in which, we can continue to reinforce the thought of people kind of staying out of money trouble. And, it's disheartening, particularly for seniors. I always talk about seniors who end up in these situations. So we might want to talk to you about that as well. But again, thank you, and thanks to NeighborWorks and the America's Stop Home Scams campaign. We need it. We desperately need it.
Denise, I'd welcome the opportunity to speak with you again with respect to financial literacy. That is completely aligned with the work that MANA does in terms of helping people to, build assets and build wealth. And we'll love to talk more with you about it.
All right.
Congratulations on launching your new newsletter as well.
Thank you. That's a date. We'll make it happen. So again, both of you all enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
All righty.